way. It's the final game of the day here. Erengel's on the cards. Let's head over to the commentators for all the action.
One more match left here for the first day of losers bracket before we head into tomorrow, and then half this lobby will be eliminated from PGS2. Back-to-back schools is what we've had so far. Let's see if a third one's gonna come around. Godspeed, this playing path, it ain't impossible.
It's definitely not impossible. I would not.
3 schools?
I would not mind a break. From
What do you mean? You want a break from school?
I was not. You know, as someone who didn't enjoy school that much in the first place. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if we went away from it, but you know what? Who am I to deny?
Who am I to decide? Exactly. Will the players decide? Do they want to go back to school? I think that's a no as well.
How did you do in school?
Just fine. Perfect.
I mean, I did fine. I just, I preferred to play games instead of do my homework, so...
I mean, I might have done the same. Well, we'll see. I only took school so far. I'm not one of those uni lads like most others.
I went for a little bit to uni, and then I decided I'd rather do this.
Exactly, and this makes perfect sense because it's a hell of a good time. We hope, of course, that all of you guys out there watching are enjoying this show that these players are putting on for us as well. Xiaoyang, is he going to drop down to school just because? I don't think so. But then now, Lyrics, few shots fired.
Find it.
Trying to force off D plus Kia. I think Marokana should be safe in trying to transition out of that one. And Circle, 8 seconds away from revealing itself. Quiet early game here. Maybe, just maybe, that bodes for a chaotic mid-game for us later down the line.
Yeah, and again, everyone is able to comfortably get into the circle because of the plane path. So no, it's not going to be school. I'm not going to put...
Now it's cursed. Now it's going east.
Maybe not yet, yeah, but we do see much more of an Everest central circle here as we watch D plus Kier. They're going to be rotating here on the west coast, and they're actually going to be the only ones pretty much getting to South George and getting that all for free.
Interesting, though, when we look back to yesterday's games, double militaries, and now we get all 3 matches in and around the river, the Yass River, George River, whatever you want to call it, and up towards the north it could potentially swing here as well as we take a look at Expendables. Victors of the previous game, a team that, I mean, really has thrived in all lobbies and still not been able to make their way through to the grand finals off of winners bracket.
Yeah, even though they did have a nice run in the winners bracket, the one thing that does still impress me, even though they have kind of struggled just a bit, is the fact that they haven't let that get to them, right? They're still playing their game. They're still going for their plays, their sends, their crashes, whatever have you. They're still maintaining the level of play that they did in group stages, even going into the winners bracket, because again, they were close. It's not like they got absolutely shut out in winners bracket. They still had some good plays. They still definitely took the fight to some of the top teams and won those fights. It's just, again, because of how scrappy they are and because of some of the way that these circles have actually played out, it has been a little bit more of a rougher go for them, but I still very much believe in that team.
Now, I might be putting more into this than there actually is to analyze, but I love the fact that you saw Batulins, as soon as he picked up a gun, he just started shooting like a crazy person while looting. Keep in mind that he was dead for, what, like 28 minutes of the previous game? He was just sat there watching and waiting as Perfectix tried to claim some placement points for the team. And he was like, it's been a while since I fired a gun. I just want to, I don't want to get surprised whenever I start shooting. So let's just get some reps in before things get chaotic.
As someone who's been there, as someone who has not been able to fire their gun, due to mistakes, it feels nice that, I'm going to shoot this thing no matter what. Whether I'm shooting at someone or not, I just at least want to fire some rounds off so I'm not just sitting and spectating pretty much the whole lobby. Because, every player at this point has done it. It sucks.
It's not fun. Not fun to call without having done it.
That being said, though, I will say there is a lot you can still do as a dead teammate, especially keeping track of the kill feed, looking at circles, maps, talking about rotations. I mean, if you do die, especially if you have a mind like Batulins, right, you are going to be able to give out so much information to your team. And I feel like people who watch tend to forget that is when you're dead, you're actually probably the most vocal on the team.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it from players before, IGLs in particular, that have said, we actually feel like I actually feel like I'm more useful to my team when I'm dead, because you can swap back between the perspectives of your teammate and give info based on all the screens, whereas when you're playing, obviously you're going to be mainly, if not exclusively, focused on your own monitor, right? So some players do, while they obviously won't be able to shoot opponents, do feel like their contributions to the team tend to be as good, if not even better, when they're actually dead near the game.
Yeah, not that these IGLs want to be dead.
Well, no, by no means.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. They're able to switch through perspectives, make sure they're kind of not necessarily micromanaging, but just kind of helping the team, especially if they're watching the same angle or making sure they're keeping track. Again, the kill feed is one of the biggest skills you can have as far as being a pro player, whether you're an IGL or not, is keeping track of that and feeding that information to your team.
Also, I've heard it from players before where you'll have a fragger who is obviously really good mechanically, but maybe doesn't feed information across that well. If you have a player dead that is strictly on that person's POV, to say, you can just stop talking and just play. I'll tell you everything that happens on your screen to our other players. So taking pressure off the hands of players with phenomenal aim, I think that's what everyone wants to do.
Yeah, when you're, as Gustav said, just basically just focus and be selfish on yourself, it actually does help, especially when you're such a talented fragger, right? Yeah. Whether it's Gustav, whether it's a player like Perfectix, who obviously has more than proven that he's a monster on the server. Yeah, it's so nice. And look at this clutch here as we watch from 7-7-7 to the last game to win this one, Toby.
This is what we were talking about just before. If Petrichor can't get an early entry like around that wall, if they can't get in before the fights end on the other side, there's going to be no way that they manage to cross on in. Had they been just a couple of seconds faster, they might just come up victorious, but Expendables were able to bring that one home.
I really do like the split that we see the Expendables actually employing right now. They do have two members at the very top of Everest, so they're going to be able to feed quite a lot of information to the team that is just to the east there of that yellow and ice cream shack combo, as that's going to be a nice hold. They do have to worry about a team crashing from their east, but again, with the information being fed from the other two in Tanvu and Delwyn, they should be just fine.
Looking at the leaderboard here, of course, some big surprises, both in good performance. The fact that we have Game PT up in third currently is pretty impressive, but also the fact that we have Daytrade and Luminosity sat down the list. 4M has slowly started to get the ball rolling, so sat at a, I won't say solid 20 points, but a pretty decent 20 points currently. We'll see what more they can get going, but I think coming into tomorrow, I wouldn't be surprised to see just chaos galore, because we're reaching a point where for some teams, especially when we reach like just a couple of games left, they have to go out and do desperate things in order to qualify. And that's when, like, if you aren't prepared for that sort of thing to happen, for the tempo on the server to just change from game to game, you'll easily get caught off guard.
Especially for some of these teams with not that much LAN experience. I mean, DDT, one of those, right? Yes, Mamu obviously has quite a bit of LAN experience, but the rest of the team is rather green when it comes to this.
Definitely.
And so it's really different when you watch to when you're actually in the server and you're in this last chance qualifier situation with a lobby this strong, to see this many teams crash. I mean, you would normally be prepared for a crash, but when you have multiple teams then making these plays out of desperation, it becomes a completely different ballgame.
And the thing is, right now, I mean, we've seen it after both the last two games that have ended, how players, at least on some teams, seem rather demotivated. They're frustrated that things aren't going their way, especially if, as we were saying, you're only getting so many chances with circles going your way. They get the circles, they just cannot convert into good games.
That's a good point.
16th right now to qualification is a 3-kill win. It's 13 points up to that 8th place. For no one should, I know, of course that's much easier said than done, but no one should be super demotivated right now. It's still very, very much within reach for all these teams to go out and qualify.
Especially when you have teams like Twisted Minds and Na'Vi potentially, again, point sponging those points and causing this massive, top-heavy leaderboard. It's going to be much more feasible for the teams on the bottom. As you said, Daytrade just a 3-kill win away from getting into 8th place, because we're playing for top 8 here. And so this is not only very open, but very possible. Even if you're a team like Daytrade or E-Arena or LG who has another bad game here, you still have 6 full games tomorrow.
Yep. Something that we don't see too often is that we're currently with still a minute and a half left, but everyone, I guess except for Olympus and Master, who just because I was trying to make a point drove out of the circle again.
just to spike.
Like, oh yeah, well, Toby, you'll be wrong about this in just a moment. But everyone is inside the circle. They might not all be in the best positions, but everyone has made their way on into this fairly easily playable first circle of the game. Now we do of course still have the river in play. We have Everest in play, 2 of the kind of heated areas of this map. And should this one swing north, there's no telling what kind of chaos we'd be in for. But for now, teams here slowly getting closer to one another. You can see Mamu weaving left and right here. I think he knows they're up there. I'm a little surprised he's this aggressively going forward. He got shot at from there just a second ago.
He's gonna literally drive right on top of Tai Lu. What? And he's, I don't, Mamu, what was...
He got shot at from here by 2 people.
That's a big mistake. That's a very big mistake. So DA team will now be down their most experienced member here.
That's the main, when we were just talking about if you die early, maybe sometimes you're more an effect for your team.
But not in this case, though.
I don't know what the idea was. He went left and right. It was clear to see he wanted something up there. He wanted to make a move of some sort, but with shots coming in earlier during his transition, maybe he thought they had left. Maybe he wanted to claim the spot, but even then, I mean, DD team has sat 3 players on top of each other in that compound with the entire north to roam.
I'm just as confused as you are, Toby.
Yeah, I'm really trying to make sense of it. Really am.
Yeah,
but
again, especially when he got shot from there, so it is going to center up on Everest. These circles are actually very fun to play, especially if you're one of the teams like TE on the tip of Everest. But this also does pose issues as far as how they want to approach this split now, because it becomes much more difficult with other teams starting to center up around you to be able to hold this.
Let me put it this way. If you're a passive team, you go down the hill. If you're Expendables, you send everyone up on the mountain.
And they expect them to, right?
They are so freaking good at any distance in the game, and they're really warm right now. I would imagine coming off of a win there as well. They got to be setting up there. They got to bring all the ammo, bring the big scopes, and just start farming.
Especially because if you are holding the top of that hill, it can be very conducive to a team fight. The problem, though, is when you get pushed on both sides, right, on the east and west. So we'll see if they can defend it. The Expendables have shown they're able to fight multiple teams on that front, but we also now see friendly fire sending it straight up the hill into the Expendables.
A lot of teams trying to claim some real estate here. As also both Na'Vi and Petrichor want to make their way inside this circle. I think Melvin caught the entire team on the other side of the road and figured, you know what, I might just slow this one down a bit. But now, speaking of Expendables, here they are, and as you said, friendly fire wanted a piece of it, but they are being closed out instantly. Sharpshot does find one, but he's lost 3 teammates in doing so.
Yeah, and this just, I like the idea, but they have to have known that there was someone already on here, and so driving across the field against so many teams, I didn't actually get to see where they were before this, but that was a disastrous push, unfortunately.
A little over-aggressive, a little overzealous. They're sat on the cusp of qualification right now for those finals, so again, even if things go against them here, even if they've been a little demotivated coming into this one, they should be happy with the game that they've had and look good for tomorrow.
So Expendables will go ahead and take them out, and essentially all that was for them was just loot delivery. Now as friendly fire will fall the first team in the final game. Day number 1 here in the lower bracket, and so Sarva just taking some shots. I think they even picked one of those off, yeah,
trying to see if they can steal something. Little do they know there's really nothing to be stolen. A 777 should be able to get back on his feet. In the meantime, everyone else trying to wrap on in. We don't really have anyone on the southern side. I mean, Gatcat, Chopsticks, that whole area somewhat unoccupied. George Pole proper not really being utilized at all either. So areas of the map that we have seen, these circles swing towards the hospital as well, still open. It's just one hard shift away from being the prime real estate. So, and with the amount of hard shifts that we've seen so far in this tournament, I'd be surprised if we didn't get some sort of a wild shift here in the third.
If anything, I'd be surprised. Yeah, I'd be surprised if we didn't get that shift, as you said. I mean,
it's going to end north of the river now.
It might just. Okay, you caught me there.
4AM needs a good game. We'll give it to them.
4AM has a nice split on the north side, but yeah, I mean, we do imagine this will probably go south. They'll probably center up even on the position now held on Everest between the Expendables and the arena. But I like this from the Expendables. They've actually given up the center of it, and they've opted to just control the east side of Everest, where they still have a couple members there split. So very nice from them, as they've been so proactive.
Liking that they maintained their split, Expendables as well. They tried to commit, tried to make sure that there wasn't any issues. Ooh, Flash, that's a costly crate. Snake is able to pop his helmet off. At least he just got a level 3 one, so it should still be somewhat intact for him to find on the ground.
Yeah, they should be able to get him up, but again, LG as well. They're in a very nice spot regardless of this shift. They will have something to play. They even have that split in Gatka proper, as this will go a little bit north, centering up mostly around George Crates. But again, Everest very much a factor in this circle still.
King of the hill, Cold first one to move from DD team. We saw just there, winning out to the shop in the middle of the open. It's not an easy spot to play from, but if you can just prone it out, wait it out, it could be in a pretty good position there. Twisted Minds are coming off of some really, really good games here in the previous ones as well. Wanting a piece of the mountain, but Expendables not allowing anyone in here on the east.
No, and especially if any team rotates in between the Expendables, they're in for a world of hurt, as Twisted Minds, as you said, is going to be rotating in and trying to get around this kind of blockade here set up by the Expendables, and they're going to go more towards the center of Everest as they send it there. on the north side. Yeah, they're trying to, and now they've realized that there's a second team above there. And now on the west side, it's going to be Sarvam using an emergency pickup as Crazy will find Perfectix.
Sarvam flying in Perfectix, and Twisted Minds realizing that it's a little too hot up on the hills right now. Down they go, but taking casualties in doing so. Lou almost getting run over there as well. Not looking like Twisted Minds really knowing exactly where they want to go in this rotation.
There's really no good spot here as the Arena now taking shots from above. Mighty has found a little bit of damage already, and they're going to make landfall there. It's very uncomfortable there for Twisted Minds. And again, another game where if they potentially go down early, it opens up the leaderboard for the rest of the teams underneath.
Definitely does. Lou trying to get healed on up as his IGL falls right next to him. Maybe he can lob a smoke to get the rest on through, but even then they're going to be in trouble with teams still on the other side. Sarvam flew in early. Game PT flying in right behind him as they're looking for people in the air, but they've already landed. Oh, and here comes the mortars. Here comes the mortars.
Mortars coming in from the west side could devastate any of the teams, especially because there's no cover on the top of that mountain that would protect you, at least from mortars. As look at 17 now making their approach. They have a nice little foothold here into the southeast, and so they could push up onto the Expendables. And look, they're actually consolidating here, Toby.
Yep, Delwyn saw it, saw them coming in. Doctors comes down to 45, but I'm honestly a bit surprised that they're not just at this point saying 17. I mean, either say 17, you can come in, we'll go up on the mountain, or give up the mountain to take out 17. I'm worried that if they try to take the fight down below, other teams will try and punish them off of doing so. Daytrade in particular, down towards that western side, it looks like a pretty obvious third-party opportunity for them. So the fact that Expendables are trying to maintain this 2-2 split still is, I don't want to say worrying, but I feel like at some point soon they're going to have it. It's very risky for sure.
It is risky. I agree 100%. As we were praising them for that split earlier, now I do think it's time to consolidate. They have to know that there's a team coming in on the southeast.
Exactly. I mean, they do know. The question is whether 17 is realizing that it's a 2-2 split they're running into. I think if they knew, they'd be crashing straight into the buildings.
Yeah, that nade was so close to actually just finishing off that duo there of Twisted Minds. We do see Forest now. They did rotate into the south. They have a dip to work with for the time being, as LG is going to be right above them, sitting in North Gatka. And this is going to set it right on Everest. I absolutely love these circles, Toby.
They are difficult to play, but also oftentimes you'll know whether or not to be in the south or the northern side. But right now, it's dead center. E-Arena, the current kings, sat up on Everest, but I've seen it so many times where the team that currently has control will not be the team victorious by the end of the game.
Especially when you have multiple teams pushing up on each side. Daytrade now trying to defend a crash here from Forest, and Master's actually going to get flushed there. But Forest is making the case for a fight, but they're getting third party by LG.
So many teams trying to shoot him from the side. Luminosity not wanting to go full in on this one, but taking what they can from a distance. In the meantime, Petrichor, Na'Vi fighting up close as well. Scabby Munto trying to fend off here against Belmoth, who just exactly gets out of the building before the nade pops.
Another game, though, where Daytrade have a position they just can't defend. They just cannot hold these fights. And now 17 will come barreling around on the north side of this, and they'll take control completely. But look at LG as well in the west.
All the teams want a piece of the pie here. They know that 3 points are good points, and at this point, with just 7 games left to play, they need everything they can get. Luminosity are pulling up. They're realizing now that 17 is here as well. This is going to get really chaotic, because look at this. Luminosity are still looking on the southern side. Maybe they haven't even realized that 17 is up top.
This is very dangerous. They do have a nice wrap there, but yeah, they must be aware of 17.
They're falling back. They're falling
early.
back.
Yeah, they have to know that they're up here, especially with these smokes now. So they will take over this compound. 17, though, will take a stronger position up in the north in those ridges.
Whoever called that, whoever called the disengage, thank you, because it looked to me like Luminosity were running straight into a trap, thinking they were going to get that one, getting backfilled by 17 Gaming, which could have caused their downfall. Petrichor goes down 13th place. They're done for the day, sat at 7th coming into tomorrow.
Luminosity now with a very big chance of, as long as they can just, the thing I worry about for them is actually Suju, right? Sitting in that ice cream, just prone, with the rest of 17 looking back, able to kind of overwatch, especially when you're putting pressure on a team like that, when they know there's someone to the north. They're probably not going to expect someone just being solo there.
While this fight is brewing, we're hopping up towards Expendables and 4AM. 4AM just crashed up here. They know for a fact that Delwyn isn't here. They've caught the split in a perfect timing, and I'm loving this. I cannot disengage proper, but at least just a step back and then try and throw some utility, try to buy some time for your teammate to get up here. But Crazy lobs the nade perfectly over the top. That's going to have to force, that's going to force Expendables to have to take the fight.
This is actually such an important important position in this circle because of the way that you can pull up and then also just move up on foot as a team. So 4 Angry Men would love to dispatch the team of the Expendables, but Duckjuice firing back, trades coming left and right as this is down to a 3v3. Crazy is down as HSSM trying to go down to the other angle, but Tanfu as well getting the top side of this, and he's gonna find one.
Expendables are on one. They're here to win it all as they push further forward. Tanfu peeks up, finds the first one. HS tries to get the kill in return, but not gonna happen. He's a solo player left alive. He wants to punish them for being down low, but now Tanfu falls as well. HS though forced to go back into hiding as shots are coming from over the top. You'd have to imagine that with Duckjuice there, is he gonna go for the rest? He should, but no, not yet. He wants more because now Delvin is here to help.
Yeah, fortunately for both of these teams, it's actually gonna be Delvin to find that. E-Arena was not able to get as much of the damage on them as they wanted because of the fact that Na'Vi is pushing on the other side of the hill.
4AM had a 4v2 entry to that fight, but Expendables were able to fall back and use their utility to keep them alive for long enough to stay put. And now, as I say that, Luminosity getting blown to pieces by 17. Great utility use, used the molly to isolate, force them into one same position, and then Lup nades on over Sushu now. It's going to keep Relo blind at least for a little while.
Relo knows that he has to make a heroic defense here as he does do a little bit of damage here on the side of 17, but again, they are just so good at constricting the space as Flood is just gonna have to back off.
Has to leave 30 alive. You know there's still placement points to fight for, and right now, if you're Luminosity, you'll take anything you can get. 18 points in the day so far. They can still be claiming more as Flood tries to make the run up towards this hillside.
Na'Vi have been fairly quiet this game so far, and now they will be able to move up this, and I worry about the rest of the teams once they're able to find their footing. Sheila will go down, and this is a fight on the northwest side here between D plus Kia and Sarvam.
And it's so hard for them to really do anything, especially with Na'Vi peeking down from up high, because E-Arena doesn't do a whole lot to suppress Na'Vi. They get free roaming opportunities, free space to try and peek down the hillside towards the north. It should be some pretty simple flushes coming through, but as I say that, KM peeks on over, finds the first.
And E-Arena finally coming alive again. They've been at the top of this hill for so long, Toby, trying to get damage onto the teams around them, but finally starting to put the pace onto, I say Na'Vi, as it's going to be actually Twisted that finds a knock on KM99.
Everyone's trying to get a little piece of the action up on the hilltop here, and E-Arena, in my opinion, has allowed too many teams. I know you can't keep everyone off Everest, but allowed too many teams too close to really dictate the flow here. On the other side of that, Na'Vi in full control. They know how they want to play. They know what they want to have other teams do in response to what they do, and today has been a complete opposite of the winners bracket performance that we saw from Na'Vi.
And a full reset from them as well is going to give them a nice foothold here. Again, they're in the circle. They do have to somewhat worry about maybe a couple solos coming in and behind on the west side, but Na'Vi actually with a nice position here. They've already got one member of E-Arena eliminated. They should be able to push up and take control, as you said, the Kings of the Hill.
Snakes trying to creep their way up towards the mountaintop, but Flood and Zenith, it's going to be a long run up. There's Tanvu through the leaves. Spots Xiaobei, has an angle and Lil goes too, but can't quite find him on the backside of the smoke.
So they will be able to recover Xiaobei, and I like this position for 17. Even though on their low ground, they're kind of avoiding all of the chaos that is happening on the north side of the circle or the very peak of Everest. As Zenith tries to go for something, Baron Peak will find it. He'll get that point as well as the elimination.
Yep, snakes galore on the other side of the circle. As you'd imagine, Baron Peak falls in just a moment as well. There he goes. 6 teams left alive now as this first day of losers bracket is about to come to an end.
The fact that Twisted is still alive after sending it to the top side of that for so long is impressive as hell, as they're also able to maintain 3 members in this.
Now Na'Vi has to be wise about this one. If they allow 17 up this hill or to check any control at all, they could easily get in trouble. And for E-Arena as well, maybe allow them to wrap over, because now Na'Vi is fighting on the other side. This should be the go push sign for 17 to make a play.
Look at this. Twisted has now knocked 2 members of Na'Vi, and E-Arena, as you said, they really need to start taking control of the top of this mountain, especially because they have the high ground, but so much damage has come out. Larix is actually going to have to go down and prone, and now the other 2 members are a little hesitant to peek over this.
Teams on the hillside suppressing each other with Expendables trying to shoot from down below. In the meantime, Batulans is doing everything he can to take out what has become the rivals on the day in Na'Vi. Mithi trying to fall back as the Arena lose 1. They'll be, I think, pleased with not losing more, as it got dicey for a moment there.
They're giving up so much control right now, Toby, and I don't agree with this. They have the opportunity now to hold Twisted on the low ground, especially when they're right next to Na'Vi, but they're actually just content with just I guess, peeking on the other side of this, and now this is the problem. They need to choose a side, but now they're getting sandwiched.
Sure do. Expendables creeping ever so much closer, but they have a threat right behind them as well in Scabby, who has not made a move in the last 5 minutes time, so they could get back, step themselves rather easily. Flush comes through for Tanvu. In the meantime now, Twisted Minds, look at this, Perfectix. No helmet, no vest. They've been battling up close for a long time. In the meantime, Batulans, full fresh level gear, level 3 gear available.
It's a very dangerous man right there, as it's going to be Delwyn finishing off Scappy, and more importantly, he was able to at least delay the Expendables with that knock, and so they should be able to get Tanvu up, as 10 kills on their side, and just like that, Shawu will find Alia, and Na'Vi will fall.
Here comes the committed push up over the hillside. Once they get Na'Vi down, they know there's space to make a move. Irina is trying to the best of their ability, hold him off. Shots come through. Sissy in the end does find Batulans, but now let's see if they can get more of it. No, not going to happen. Shawu is there. Too many angles, but Twisted Minds keep in mind.
And you called it. It was going to be 17 coming up on the bottom side from the south. And all the other teams have to be very aware, but Sizzy will find it, and so will Larix. And all of a sudden, 17 is down to just 1, but they will wipe the arena.
Here comes Expendables, full speed forward. They're looking for the back-to-back. So far, it's a 3v1. I'm not assuming that Xiao will be able to get the res on up to Little Ghost. He's going to have to pull off a hell of a performance. Because he goes for the res, he cannot heal. Half HP on both now, trying to commit to first stage. Will they get them? No, they won! Tanvu with the double and a back-to-back for the Expendables.
And it's so impressive. We talked about the way they split Everest with that low ground compound earlier. The fact that they were able to push 17 away from them on the south and then take multiple fights at the top of the mountain. What an absolute amazing play coming out from the boys from the Expendables.
We complimented them through group stage. We said good thing about them doing winners bracket as well, but here they are. Tanvu with the nade lopped on over, gets himself a double, and look at the smiles on their faces. Yet another APAC team out here impressing the entire global stage.
And again, we also talked about the fact that even through the bad games, the Expendables continue to just play their game. You know what? We had a bad game last game. We're still going to continue to do what we do. We're still going to go for those splits, and we're